Australians finally go to the polls tomorrow, with the Coalition and Labor both predicting it will be a cliffhanger. The result may not be known until Sunday, with so many highly marginal seats in the picture, especially in New South Wales and Queensland. Political editor Heather Ewart reports.
No pressure, is there?
No, not at all.
Me with all my mates.
Calm down, calm down.
Oh, shocker.
Oh, yeah.
Shot. Finishing strong.
I had to finish well.
Time is running out as Julia Gillard faces the real prospect that Labor could lose the election, ending her short tenure as Australia's first female Prime Minister. Today she resorted to this warning to voters over and over wherever she went.
What I can say to Australians now, and particularly as Australians are seeing the polls this morning, there is a very, very real risk that they will wake up on Sunday and Mr Abbott will be Prime Minister. A real risk that Australians will wake up on Sunday and Mr Abbott will be Prime Minister.
They're panicking. I mean, they are seriously hyperventilating at the moment, the Labor Party. They're panic-stricken.
In the last frenetic moments of this 5-week-long campaign, as both leaders dashed from one marginal seat to another in Sydney and on its outskirts, the mood in the Abbott campaign was buoyant.
I am running for the biggest job in the country, and if you're running for a big job, you've got to make a big effort.
The man who likes to stress he's the underdog had been on the road pretty much since yesterday morning and campaigned throughout the night, having an occasional catnap.
In the last 30 hours, to the best of my reckoning, I've done 6 TV interviews, 14 radio interviews. I've visited 10 electorates.
I know that Mr Abbott has been campaigning through the night. I hope he walked up to every person that he met and said, I'm Tony Abbott, if you vote for me, work choices will be back and prices will be up in the shops, because that'd be the truth.
Throughout the day, the two battered the same insults they've hurled at each other for the past 35 days, but with added urgency on election eve.
If he is elected as Prime Minister, then the risk for Australian working families is that work choices returns.
I will absolutely guarantee that work choices in any name is dead, buried and cremated.
And then there's a real risk they'll wake up on Tuesday and see the cuts to health, the cuts to education, the cuts they didn't know were coming.
I want to say that we would do a better job, and I think that what we would do starting on day one is we'd end the waste, we'd pay back the debt, we'd stop the big new taxes and we'd stop the boats.
And so it went on and on, as Labor also did a last-minute promotion of its handling of the global financial crisis through its spending stimulus program.
What I've lay awake about, to be frank, over the last 2.5 years is thinking a lot about jobs and what could have happened to Australia if we didn't get our response to the global recession right.
We kept men and women in work. I stand by it and I'm proud of it.
Tony Abbott countered with his complaints of waste in the building education revolution, but his favourite punchline, and one he knows hurts Labor, has always been this.
8 weeks ago, the government, on its own admission, had lost its way by sacking its own leader, by politically assassinating the democratically elected Prime Minister. The government effectively voted no confidence in itself.
Backstabber, Gillard! A backstabber! You backstab Rudd!
How the Rudd factor has played out in the minds of voters may become clearer in the only poll that counts tomorrow. But what is all too plain tonight is that the confidence Labor had at the start of this race has gone. Many senior ALP figures are describing the Labor campaign as a car wreck, to the point where it's now on the edge of losing. The bookies see it that way too.
Well, look, certainly in the last 24 hours, the punters have come very strongly for the Liberal Party. They are now into $2.80, and Labor, they're still favourite, but they're an easing favourite, to use a racing term, and they're out to $1.42.
The punters are usually right at election time, and if that trend is worrying Labor even more, it can take some comfort in the big money going its way.
We've had several $50,000 and $20,000 bets on Labor. But the actual bet numbers, they're split 50-50.
The fact that Julia Gillard on election eve felt the need to tour the high-profile seat of Bennelong, wrested from John Howard by Maxine McHugh in 2007, points to the sense of anxiety in Labor ranks that nothing can be taken for granted.
Well, the punters are saying that Maxine McHugh is in trouble. And last time they got it right about Maxine because she was a hot favourite to unseat an incumbent Prime Minister in John Howard. But this time, the punters have deserted her.
It's that sort of election where anything could happen. And with so many marginal seats in play, there'll be plenty of surprises. Little wonder both leaders are fighting hard right to the end.
My clear determination, every fibre of my being is directed towards trying to get a majority coalition government.
Talking to your family, talking to your friends, talking to your neighbours. The only way of making sure Mr Abbott is not Prime Minister on Sunday is to go out and fight for it today. Thank you very much.
Queensland and New South Wales are the key states to watch on election night, but for enthusiasts, no state should be ignored on what will be an historic night, one way or the other.